Something fundamental happens in a man's life when he makes the wrong choice about who to build with. Not a small mistake, not a temporary setback, a complete redirection of his entire trajectory. 10 years disappear, his purpose dims, his peace evaporates. And the worst part is that everyone saw it coming except him, because he was too busy convincing himself that tolerating the intolerable was somehow masculine, somehow loyal, somehow what good men do. Let me be absolutely clear about what I'm addressing here. This isn't about attacking women. This is about waking men up to a reality they've been conditioned to ignore. The type of woman you choose to invest your time, resources, and emotional energy in will determine whether you build a legacy or waste decades of your life managing chaos you mistook for passion. And most men are making catastrophic choices because they've been taught that having standards makes them shallow, that boundaries make them controlling, that protecting their peace makes them selfish. The truth is simpler and more devastating. Some women will destroy everything you've built, not because they're evil, but because they're fundamentally incompatible with the kind of life a man needs to thrive. And the man who can't recognize these patterns, who can't draw lines, who can't walk away when necessary, that man will pay with years he'll never get back. There's a type of woman who uses you as her emotional dumping ground. She comes home from work, and the moment she walks through the door, you become the battlefield for every frustration she encountered that day. Her boss was difficult, so you get the attitude. Her coworker said something passive-aggressive, so you get the cold shoulder. Traffic was bad, so dinner becomes an interrogation about why you haven't fixed problems that don't exist. This isn't about having a bad day occasionally. Everyone has bad days. This is about a woman who has fundamentally decided that you exist to absorb her negative emotions. There's no softness when she's with you. No effort to transition from work mode to partnership mode. No recognition that a home should be a refuge, not an extension of corporate warfare. You're not her partner. You're her stress ball. And the psychological toll of being someone's emotional punching bag doesn't show up immediately. It accumulates. Day by day, your nervous system stays activated. You start dreading the sound of her car in the driveway. You find yourself staying late at work, not because you need to, but because going home feels like entering a combat zone. I watched a man describe this exact dynamic. He'd built a successful business, provided well, never raised his voice. But every evening was the same pattern. She'd walk in already angry about something that had nothing to do with him, and spend the next 2 hours making sure he felt it. When he finally left, people asked why. He said something that stuck with me. I realized I was choosing between my sanity and her inability to manage her own emotions. I chose myself. Then there's the single mother, still psychologically married to her past. This isn't about the child. Children aren't the problem. The problem is when a woman has never actually closed the chapter with her ex, never processed why that relationship failed, never taken responsibility for her own role in the destruction. You're not joining a family. You're entering a psychological triangle where the ghost of her previous relationship still controls the temperature of your current one. Every decision runs through the filter of what he would think. Every schedule revolves around his convenience. Every emotional reaction is contaminated by unresolved feelings she claims don't exist anymore. You're building something new with someone who's still living in something old. And the cruelty of it is that she'll never admit this. She'll insist she's moved on, that the past is the past, that you're being insecure. But her behavior tells a different story. Her emotional availability tells a different story. The space in her life that should be yours tells a different story. There's also the woman who treats you like a student instead of a man. She corrects your word choices in social settings. She explains things you already understand as if you're incapable of basic comprehension. She makes suggestions about your appearance, your career, your friendships, not as a supportive partner, but as someone fixing a flawed project. This dynamic destroys something essential in relationships. Polarity dies. Attraction evaporates. Because you stop being a man she desires and become a boy she's raising. The tragedy is that many of these women genuinely believe they're being helpful. They think their constant instruction is making you better. They don't recognize that they're systematically dismantling the masculine energy that attracted them in the first place. And when the attraction dies, when the sexual connection fades, when she starts looking at other men with renewed interest, she'll blame you for not being man enough, never recognizing that her inability to respect you as an equal killed whatever manhood you had left. Some men encounter the perpetual traveler, the woman who's always planning the next trip, always chasing the next experience, always moving, always searching, always anywhere but present with you. There's nothing wrong with travel. There's nothing wrong with adventure. But when someone is constitutionally incapable of stillness, of building routines, of creating something stable and rooted, you're not in a relationship. You're orbiting someone who fundamentally cannot commit to anything, including you. She'll frame this as being free-spirited, as living life fully, as refusing to be trapped by convention. But underneath that narrative is often someone running from herself, someone who equates depth with boredom, commitment with imprisonment, stability with death. And you can't build anything lasting with someone who's always halfway out the door. You can't create a foundation with someone allergic to foundations. You end up exhausted, chasing someone who doesn't want to be caught. A drama addict presents a different kind of toxicity. Where there's gossip, there's her in the center. Where there's conflict, there's her stirring the pot. Where there's an audience, there's her performing. She needs chaos like oxygen, needs attention like water, needs validation from everyone, all the time, without pause or limit. Peace isn't just unfamiliar to this woman. It's intolerable, because peace is quiet, and quiet means she has to face herself, and that's the one thing she cannot do. Living with someone addicted to drama means your life becomes a reality show you never auditioned for. Private moments become public stories. Disagreements become performances. Simple conversations become theatrical productions. And you're always playing defense, always managing her latest crisis, always putting out fires she started just to feel the heat. Then there's the woman whose entire existence is curated for social media consumption. Her value system has been completely colonized by likes, comments, shares. She doesn't ask, is this meaningful? She asks, is this postable? She doesn't wonder, does this make me happy? She wonders, will this make people think I'm happy? You're not her partner. You're a prop in her content creation, a background character in her personal brand. This dynamic creates a relationship that exists more online than in reality. She'll post the anniversary dinner, but ignore you during it because she's managing comments. She'll share the vacation photos, but spend the actual vacation staging shots for optimal engagement. She'll broadcast your relationship to thousands while being emotionally absent from the relationship itself. And when you object, when you ask for actual presence instead of performed presence, you're accused of being unsupportive, of not understanding her, of being threatened by her success. The woman obsessed with hobbies or interests to the exclusion of partnership presents a subtler problem. There's nothing inherently wrong with passion, nothing wrong with dedication to pursuits outside the relationship. But when you're always, inevitably, consistently the last priority, when her calendar has room for everything except you, when her energy is spent before you ever see her, you're not in a partnership. You're in something else entirely. She'll defend this by saying you're clingy, that you don't respect her independence, that she needs her own identity. But there's a difference between maintaining individuality and having no space for togetherness, between pursuing interests and making your partner an afterthought, between independence and isolation. And the man who accepts permanent relegation to the bottom of her priority list is choosing a life of loneliness with someone in the room. The divorced woman who hasn't healed carries particularly destructive patterns. Every conflict triggers her previous trauma. Every disagreement becomes the fight she had with him. Every innocent action gets interpreted through the lens of her past pain. You're not actually in a relationship with her. You're in a relationship with her unprocessed history. And no matter how patient you are, how understanding, how different from her ex, you end up paying for his crimes. This woman will see abandonment where there's none, betrayal where there's honesty, control where there's care. Because her emotional responses aren't based on what's happening now. They're based on what happened then. And until she does the work of actually separating past from present, of taking responsibility for her healing instead of expecting you to fix what another man broke, she'll remain a dangerous choice for any man who values his peace. There's also the professional flirt. The woman who uses charm as currency, attention as oxygen, male validation as daily bread. She's not necessarily unfaithful. She just needs to know she could be, needs to feel desired by everyone, needs constant confirmation that she still has it, whatever it is. And you get to watch this performance, tolerate this disrespect, accept this boundary violation, while being told you're insecure if you object. The intellectual dishonesty here is staggering. If you gave other women the same attention she gives other men, there'd be consequences. But when she does it, it's harmless. Just her personality, just being friendly, just existing in her natural state. The double standard is so blatant, it would be impressive if it weren't so destructive. And the man who tolerates this teaches her that his boundaries mean nothing, that his comfort is negotiable, that respect is optional. Perhaps most dangerous is the woman who doesn't love you, just loves what you provide, the status you offer, the lifestyle you fund, the security you represent. This woman's affection is directly tied to your utility. When resources are abundant, she's present. When circumstances change, she vanishes. She's not building with you, she's extracting from you. And the moment extraction becomes impossible, you'll see how quickly love, built on transactions, disappears. Men fall into this trap because they confuse being wanted for being loved, because they think providing is the same as being valued, because they've been taught that a man's worth is his wallet. So when a woman shows interest, they don't ask why. They don't investigate her character. They don't test whether her affection survives moments when they're not performing, not providing, not perfectly playing the role of resource dispenser. The common thread in all these patterns is the man's complicity in his own destruction. He accepts the stress dumping because he's afraid of being called unsupportive. He tolerates the single mother's divided loyalty because he's afraid of being called heartless. He endures the constant correction because he's afraid of being called fragile. He watches the drama creation because he's afraid of being called controlling. Fear drives these choices. Fear of being alone. Fear of being judged. Fear of admitting he made a mistake. Fear of starting over. So he stays. He tolerates. He convinces himself it's not that bad. He tells himself all relationships require sacrifice. He believes the lie that having standards makes him shallow. But here's what men need to understand. The alternative exists. There are women who come home and bring softness instead of stress. Women who have actually closed chapters before opening new ones. Women who respect masculine energy instead of trying to feminize it. Women who can be still, present, content. Women who handle conflict without creating chaos. Women who value substance over social media performance. Women who have lives of their own, but still make space for partnership. Women who have done the healing work. Women who understand loyalty. Women who love the man, not the lifestyle. These women exist, but you'll never find them if you keep accepting women who don't. You'll never attract them if you keep tolerating behavior that high-value women would never display. Because women of substance don't want men without standards. They want men who know their worth, who protect their peace, who can distinguish between someone adding value and someone extracting it. Marriage doesn't fix these patterns, it amplifies them. The woman who dumps stress on you while dating will dump more stress after marriage. The single mother who hasn't healed will bring more unresolved trauma into a marriage. The constant corrector will intensify her criticism once she has legal claim to you. Every negative pattern you tolerate now becomes exponentially worse when there's a legal contract binding you to it. With the wrong woman, marriage becomes a prison sentence you volunteered for. With the right woman, it becomes legacy building. The difference isn't luck, it's choice, it's discernment. It's the willingness to walk away from what feels good temporarily to find what lasts permanently. The responsibility sits with men. You choose who you invest in. You decide what behavior you'll accept. You determine whether peace or chaos defines your life. Women can only do to you what you allow them to do. Every boundary violation you tolerate teaches them your boundaries are meaningless. Every disrespect you accept confirms that respect is optional. Every pattern you enable guarantees that pattern continues. This isn't about perfection. No one is perfect. This is about fundamental compatibility, about values alignment, about whether someone makes your life better or worse, about whether peace exists in their presence or only in their absence, about whether you're building something or managing something. Peace has become the ultimate luxury in modern relationships. More valuable than beauty, which fades. More precious than excitement, which exhausts. More essential than status, which means nothing if you're miserable achieving it. A man who understands this stops chasing the wrong things, stops tolerating what destroys him, stops confusing drama for passion and chaos for depth. The men who figure this out don't end up with perfect women. They end up with compatible women. Women who share their values, respect their boundaries, contribute to their peace. And the difference between waking up next to someone who drains you versus someone who energizes you is the difference between surviving your life and actually living it. Your choice of partner is the single most important decision you'll make. More important than your career, more important than where you live, more important than anything else, because the wrong person will sabotage everything else. They'll poison your career success with constant complaints about your absence. They'll make your home feel like enemy territory. They'll drain your energy until you have nothing left for purpose or passion. But the right choice, the woman who actually adds value instead of extracting it, she multiplies everything good in your life, makes success more meaningful, makes home actually feel like home, gives you energy instead of taking it. Not because she's perfect, but because she's compatible, because she's done her own work, because she understands that partnership means addition, not division. Most men learn this lesson too late. After a decade wasted, after a divorce, after years of their life they'll never recover. They finally understand that tolerating the intolerable isn't strength, it's self-destruction. That accepting less than they deserve isn't humility, it's self-betrayal. You have a choice right now. Accept the patterns that destroy or demand the standards that protect. Tolerate what breaks you or require what builds you. Stay with someone who makes your life harder or find someone who makes it better. The choice seems obvious, yet most men will choose wrong, will sacrifice peace for fear of loneliness, will accept chaos because it's familiar, will stay because leaving requires courage they're not sure they have. But the men who choose correctly, who protect their peace above all else, who refuse to invest in women who subtract from their lives, those men don't end up alone. They end up free, free to build, free to grow, free to find what they actually deserve, instead of settling for what they're afraid to lose. What's your experience with these patterns? What did you tolerate that you shouldn't have? What did you learn? Share in the comments. Your story might be exactly what another man needs to hear to finally choose himself.